All right. I am joined by Guillermo and Guillermo, father and son. One of you, the younger, is in Santiago, Chile, and then the other one, you're in Venezuela. What part of Venezuela are you in?
I am at Guarico State, right in the middle of Venezuela, in
Okay.
San Juan de los Montes.
And you're getting ready to leave Venezuela, right?
On the 16th, we'll be leaving Venezuela, going through Brazil.
And so why now? What have you seen that's pushing you out of Venezuela?
Well, many things. The situation is getting worse and worse as they pass, economically. If you don't make about 10 or 12 minimum salaries, you won't be able to eat. It's difficult to say, but some people are making lots of money. But the middle class people, if you don't have an extra job or somebody from outside who's sending you money, it's impossible. At the minimum wage, it's only enough to buy a dozen of eggs, a bottle of 2 liters of Coca-Cola, and maybe half a kilogram of meat, if you're lucky.
So how have you been surviving?
Well, in one part, Guillermo is helping me from Chile. Guillermo and his brother and his sister, somehow they send help. And I'm a retired employee from a university. I have a retirement account. That's nothing. I mean, nothing. You cannot live with that for one day. So I have different jobs. I work with computers, on CCTV, installing security cameras, many things. What worries me, what would happen if tomorrow I have no more jobs? People stop hiring me for jobs like that. And I think that's about to happen anytime.
Do you feel like you are kind of coming down to the wire here in terms of getting out of Venezuela? Is there a certain point where you don't think you would be able to really escape?
Well, you can call it an escape. I mean, there's nothing here about stopping me from going out. No law, nothing. It's telling me I cannot leave through an airport or through a highway or the road through Brazil or Colombia or taking a plane to wherever. There is a lot of corruption. You need money if you go through land and the National Guard stops you. You know that if they like you, maybe they can let you go. But if they stop you and check out and you got dollars in you, they are going to want to keep part of it. That's what really stops people from leaving. Living in Venezuela, it's expensive for somebody who's a minimum wage. Even though lots of people are walking to Colombia, literally. They go to San Antonio in the Táchira state near the border, and they walk. And now Colombia is getting worried about that because I'm talking about 10, 20,000 people a day through the border. I don't know how many are going to Brazil, but I know that thousands.
Yep. And now, Guillermo, that's what you did, right? You walked across the border to Colombia?
Yeah, I actually walked across the border to Colombia, and then I took buses all over Ecuador, Peru, and then Chile.
And so what's different about how you're gonna leave in a few days? You're driving across a different border, and why? What's the difference between these two options?
Okay, the reason is that through Colombia there are too many people leaving now, and Colombia is aware of that, and they're stopping people, asking for papers. The way we're going, I'm going to go to Boavista. I have a ticket, an airplane ticket that will be a flight from Manaus to Santiago. Okay, that'll be Manaus, Rio de Janeiro, I think Sao Paulo, then Paraguay, and then Chile. But there is less people going that way, which makes it kind of safer. It's not really safer because it's a matter of luck. If you're lucky, you can go. Okay? If somebody stops you along the way, maybe it will cost you money. You have to pay, give somebody some money to look away. Hopefully nothing like that will happen, but it could.
Okay, so that's what you have to contend with, is that basically somebody's going to want a bribe along the way or to take certain amount of what you have.
Yes. If they look at, if they stop me somewhere before I get to Boris, before I get to the line, to the border, and they see that they have my passport and I have my airplane tickets printed out as they ask in Brazil to let you go through, they're gonna think, oh, these people have dollars. We're talking about the dollar is 233,000 bolivars. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, well, talking that minimum wage of month is about $5 to $6.
Yes.
And that's the minimum wage you're saying that could barely buy the necessities to eat even.
Well, if you're lucky enough and you find a job and then you make the money, it's okay. I made this last month, I made about 10 million. Okay,
10 million.
It's a lot of money. For me, it was a lot of money. The 10 million I spent in 3 days.
$10 million, 10 million bolivars is about $50.
Wow. And how long has this been going on? You know, what would that have bought a year ago? How quickly did the inflation set in?
It's incredible. Prices they started doubling up once a month. I mean, like they call it cartón de huevos. It's 36x. It'll go from 20,000, then to 40, then to 80, then to 120. Suddenly it went up to 230, and this week 280. Who knows tomorrow?
So why didn't you leave like a year ago when Guillermo did?
Well, there's a saying in English like wishful thinking or something like that. Still think that this thing is going to go away, that the government is going to go, that democracy finally is going to get through, which I'm still hoping. But reality, it's too hard. I'm afraid. I live in Venezuela. I'm 56 years old. My mother and father are still alive. Two elderly people. I don't even know how I'm going to manage to get them to Chile or to get them to Brazil. The high blood pressure medicine, it's unavailable. If you get sick, you could die of diabetes. Something as simple as insulin. If you're lucky enough, you find it, and the government says, hey, they found insulin. But if you're not, you might die. Or maybe they can cut your leg. Nothing is certain in Venezuela now. And I'm not being how do you say, I don't mean to be against
dramatic.
It's not the government now. It's everybody against everybody. The main reason is that everybody's surviving. The government is guilty of setting up this enormous mess. But people are raising prices just because tomorrow everything is going to go up. Hey, if I'm selling Coca-Cola and it costs me 70 Bs, but I know that tomorrow is going to cost me 200, how am I going to sell it for less than that? I have to sell it for more than 200 to be able to live. And
right. So it's the basic economics. You can't even function economically because the government has caused the situation where the markets aren't even working because it seems like it's basically coming down to the currency.
That's right.
We're getting food from the government, maybe once a month. They send you a box that Mexico sells to the Venezuelan government, full of products that we should be producing.
Yeah.
And it costs nothing. It costs nothing. It's almost a gift. But people are hoping that the box or the bag gets, because a lot of people are living off of that bag or of the box. I can send you some pictures later of the box.
Yeah.
And the political problem is awful because they say they know that they're talking against them, and they find a way to destroy you.
Is that so? It's not just the economic reasons that you're leaving. You're also leaving because is it a safety issue based on the government, or based on you're saying that now it's kind of everybody against everybody because you're just competing for what limited resources are left. So, what beyond the economic? There's no economic activity ability there, but is there safety reasons that you're also leaving?
Well, I think that eventually, sooner than many people think, this is going to explode. Because people won't, if something goes wrong, people won't be able to find food. The government pays the elderly a pension. It's about 250, 300 bolivars fuerte a month. If they're lucky, they go to the bank and they get 200,000, almost $1. But if you're not, they give you 10,000. 10,000 is not enough money to buy 2 pieces of bread. Bread this big.
Wow.
It will happen. I'm sure it will happen. Eventually, this is going to blow. People are going to start fighting against somebody. I don't know, the government or the army or whoever. But it's not safe.
Now, does it seem like a lot of people already left, like your neighbors and friends and stuff? Does it feel like people are just filing out, or are you still some of the first people to have left?
Well, together this afternoon I was together with friends of mine. They were kind of telling me goodbye, and they are worried because now people my age are starting to leave. A year ago, people Guillermo's age, or maybe older than him, but nobody above 50. It's crazy to leave your country when you're so old. They say, you're not going to be able to find a job, Guillermo, you're crazy. I say, how about Venezuela? Will I be able to find a job in a month? And what if I can't? It's crazy. It's so difficult to explain. There's so many factors at the same time. Insecurity. Internet is not working. Power failures, 2-3 times a day. The gas, not gasoline, gas.
Cooking oil.
The gas for cooking. You have to stand in a line in a month to be able to fill up what they call the bombona, the little gas tank. Oil for motor cars. It went from 40,000 bees to 1 million in less than a month. A liter of oil.
So, yeah, and this, so it's obviously, you said it's accelerated over the last year and gotten really bad, but what was it like, 2-3 years ago? Has this been steadily going downhill, or was there some sort of turning point where you all kind of realized that it wasn't going to get any better?
Well, I think that 3 years ago, I would tell Guillermo, it's okay, I can do it. I make the money, we're eating. But it's like a circle that goes faster every time. It began very slow. They're taking things from you. Now they take this. Now there is no harina pan to make the arepas. Now you have to stand in a line 3 hours to get a kilo of harina pan. But that's okay. I found it. You feel happy when you find products. But no pasta. This week, no meat. But today is not just one thing. There are many products. There are cars, people that have deluxe cars in their garages. They can afford to repair their cars.
And Guillermo, when you left a year ago, what was the trigger for you?
Well, the trigger for me was kind of what I lived inside. I was living away from my parents. I was living in Merida. I was studying economics at the University of Los Andes, ULA, in Venezuela. And I was through a very rough situation. And basically, at that time, Merida has always been basically the most opposition state to the government. You know, like the state who have the concentration of most opposition-minded people, and there were basically a huge let's say protest, and they weren't able to do anything against the government. They were completely dispersed by violent people. And for me, that was kind of the turning point where I said, if here in media, people who are the opposition are like the great majority, and they are even getting fight by violent people, and sadly the violent people is winning, there's nothing to do with the other parts of the country. That was kind of what I thought at that moment.
And what was was it a stark contrast when you did, I think you said it ended up being like a 12-day bus journey, and once you got to Santiago, you know, did life improve immediately, or was it just as much of a struggle to try to get established?
Well, in terms of life improving, I think that you feel your life improving once you are outside Venezuela. And this is going to sound crazy, but once you are in Cucuta, that is the nearest place to the border from Venezuela, the situation is completely, it changed completely, you know? You suddenly have the how do I say, like the grocery stores full of products without people making lines. You suddenly have people living their normal lives. You suddenly have all of these foods in all these places. You have opportunities to make a living, you know? Even working as a minimum wage, you probably are not going to do a lot of money, but you're going to do money enough to eat and to survive, you know?
Yeah.
And
at this
wasn't
point,
possible.
right. And at this point, you haven't seen each other in person in a year since you left, right?
Yeah, that's right.
No. So that's, I mean, that's at least something to look forward to. But I mean, are you worried that once you get to Santiago, you know, what's the next step there? You find a job, you know, it's, I know you said you are retired, so it's almost like at this point in your life you should be able to relax, but now it's like you're having to start over basically.
Well, it's a new beginning. I believe that if I've been able to survive this long with these conditions, well, I'm optimist, and I think that it'll be easier then, for what I hear.
And that's
I mean, if you can make a living out of selling Nesti, if you pardon the name of the commercial, if you can sell whatever, you see videos on YouTube of Venezuelan people selling arepas in Peru or in Buenos Aires in Argentina. There must be more than thousands of engineers doing Uber, driving taxis. And they're surviving. Well, if I can do it here, I can do it. It's like the New York song. If I can do it here, I can do it anywhere. Hopefully, on top of that, I have my family there. Guillermo is there, Cesar is there, Jesse Valentina is there. I feel somehow that they have pressure because I feel that eventually this thing is going to go crazy and we won't be able to go out of Venezuela, which will be like, what would they do? I have a friend who has his son was signed up for the New York Yankees last year, and he's in Dominican Republic, and he's doing okay because his son is sending, if you imagine, $500,000, a lot of money, and he can handle the money from Venezuela. That's just because he has internet. How long are we going to have internet? Today I was going to Guillermo through using my cell phone through the data on the air. Impossible, completely impossible. No way.
Is that where you're using the data? You're using your cell phone data right now? No, you don't have any actual.
No, I'm going through the Cantive to the national phone company.
Yeah.
But I have less than a megabyte. I have maybe
100 kilobytes.
Maybe, not all the time.
So that makes it even harder to do work online too, because Guillermo, you were doing work online when you were still in Venezuela, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much a really funny history because I basically had to be awakened all night because on the nights the internet got the fast as the internet could go, that was 100 kilobytes per second. Mm-hmm. So at that time I was able to upload images, to edit WordPress entries, to do web design, and to see the change that I was doing to the website on real time, refreshing the page. But on the day, the broadband is extremely low and I wasn't unable to do that.
Sometimes we try to talk through Facebook, and Facebook won't open. You're not even able to load Facebook.
So it's like everything's just slowing down. You don't have the economic activity. You don't have even internet. The currency's going crazy. So, and you're saying, and it still seems like most people over a certain age don't want to leave. But what, I don't know, what's like the feeling there? Are people, what do you talk about when you get together with these people and everybody knows that life is going downhill fast? So what's the feeling?
Well, most people think that, again, wishful thinking. Some of them think that there's going to be an invasion and somebody's going to kill Maduro, which is completely crazy because if it was true, it would have already happened. It hasn't happened. It's not that easy. Man. I don't think that President Trump is going to send American kids to die in Venezuela just because for democracy.
So they're hoping that a foreign government would kind of come to the aid and kick out.
They're doing their job, They're pressuring from Colombia, from Peru. Americans are doing the same. But these people somehow have the Cuban way of doing things that they look away. They don't pay attention. Lately, they're closing all the accounts, the bank accounts. All these socialists, they have accounts in the U.S. And in Panama, the socialists, they care about the people. They have lots of money outside, especially the one they stole from PDVSA, from the National Oil Company. And American government are freezing their accounts. But what do they tell to the Venezuelan people? That the American government is doing things against the country, not against them. It's against Venezuela. They hate you. That's what they say. They have more than 20 different TV channels. And I don't know how many radio stations. That's all they telling you about American people are, how bad it would be if there was an invasion, in which case I have kind of an agreement. Nobody wants any country to is their country to be invaded. I don't want. I don't like this government to somehow uh, decide that it's time to go away. And I think that somebody has to open a back door so that they can leave. Otherwise, they're going to use the people in Venezuela that still believe in them to fight whoever comes here. And you see what happened, for example, in Syria. They were going to finish. Who knows? Iraq or Afghanistan, I don't know. I don't want that to happen here. I think that still there is room for a political solution. I don't know.
Are you worried? Right. Are you worried about like speaking out, online? Like, obviously, we're not going to air this until after you're out of Venezuela. But is that something that you need to worry about? Do you have are they making sure that people aren't speaking out against the government? Or
well, if you are some kind of political figure, they take care of you. They stop you from doing it, or for example, if Guillermo was here, they don't do anything to me, but they take Guillermo away. You know how dictators are, how they act. They try to be. They give you a face of a democracy, but behind they know how to do things. See, I have a pension from a university. Maybe tomorrow my account will disappear accidentally. Something went bad in the system. I'm afraid of that. I can tell you, I still my brothers are here, my mom and dad are here. Who knows? And the people who have dared to speak out, they have paid the price. Look at Leopoldo Lopez did. Leopoldo is a leader. A lot of people follow him. And at this time, they have destroyed the opposition almost completely. People don't believe in the opposition anymore. They make we that used to follow the opposition that they were working for the government, that they have been paid for that, and everything, including the CNE, the Council for the Election, is working for the government. So it's like you will never win. It's impossible to win. Your leaders are working for me. El árbitro, how do you say that? The middleman, the one that tells the rule, is working for me. So how are you going to win? And psychologically, I'm not the only one that feels that. Everyone feels that.
right. No, it certainly seems like the only solution right now is to get out of there, because you can't have a normal life. That is totally robbing everybody of their potential. So, Guillermo, you were originally able to get out based on raising Bitcoin online, right?
Yes, that's right.
So, would you have not been able to do that without without Bitcoin?
Of course, totally. Basically, Bitcoin has no borders. If you want to use PayPal on Venezuela, you have to do crazy amount of stuff just to get your account functioning, and suddenly it could get banned, because basically all the IPs, the Venezuelan IPs are banned to use PayPal. So Bitcoin is a borderless currency, and it can be transferred inside Venezuela, and it can be exchanged for local currency,
Are people using it? That comes to my mind. Like, why you were saying you'd have to have basically wheelbarrows full of cash to buy something. Why aren't more people using Bitcoin?
I don't know. I don't know if maybe they don't know about the technology, but I know that in Caracas right now are using Dash a lot. People are using Dash to buy day-to-day things, because Dash has lower transaction fees than Bitcoin, and it makes it practical to use.
Right. So just cryptocurrencies in general, yeah, not necessarily Bitcoin. But so, I mean, I don't know. What do you? I know that the Venezuelan government also recently claimed that they're going to put out a cryptocurrency of their own. Is this, what's your feeling on that, or just if they're kind of still doing the trickery, like you were talking about, the political tricks?
Well, I think that basically my feeling is the feeling of everyone who live inside Venezuela, living, let's say, on the rule of the current government, and no one believed that the petro was going to work anyway, because basically people who was baking the currency are uh, they are not people who you will trust, you know.
Yeah. All right. So I just wanted to get back to a little bit. So with leaving Venezuela in a few days, what do you, besides the bribery, is there anything that you do have to worry about? Like, what could go wrong, or is it pretty straight shot?
Well, something could go wrong, that maybe at the frontier they close it for any reason, because the government closes the frontier anytime they want, the border.
Suddenly.
Suddenly, Colombia just closed it because there was an election. Venezuela might close it because Maduro decided to do it for any reason he wants. They don't have to justify what they do. They just do it. And if I have a timetable I have to keep, if I come late to Manaus, it will be a disaster. I won't be able, I will lose the tickets, the airplane tickets. Because they're bought in a way in which they're the cheapest way to buy them. And if I'm not there, the moment I have to be there, I have to pay the fine is about 80%, something like that. I'm not sure about that. But I'm hoping everything is going to be okay, because there's so many people doing it that it has to be okay, hopefully.
Yeah. No, hopefully that will. And what about, so what is it like leaving and not knowing when or if you'll be able to ever come back or see these friends and other family members? Because it's you and your wife and your son that are all leaving together.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of people come to me and embrace me and cry, like if I was going to some kind of, I don't know. It's hard. It's so difficult to describe it, because of somehow at this age, you believe you're going to die in your house, in your town, with your friends. And not precisely 56 years old, an age to leave the country impossible, a new life. But it has to be. It's whatever. I think that during the wartime that happened, in the Second World War. But people are sad. A lot of my friends look at me and they start crying. My family, they say, oh, okay, Guillermo, everything's going to be okay there. I'm sure you're going to do fine there. You're going to see, but don't forget about me. Please write through WhatsApp. Let's keep in touch. My son wants to go there. Once you're there, please don't forget me. It's difficult, and it's so common. It's everyone in their family has a brother that left, or a nephew that did, or if the university I used to work for, teachers are leaving the university because it's stupid to work for the amount of money they pay. It's better to go to Colombia and wash cars. And the feeling of leaving your house, your life, and leaving my life behind. I have half of my life is already in Chile. There, Guillermo's there. And the way we're living today is like we're divided for destiny, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And they can't come to Venezuela now, the same way as Cubans. And I had to work a lot to be able to, and thanks to the help I got, I'm able to leave Venezuela. Otherwise, I won't be able to. Guillermo knows that, you know that. It's difficult. It's difficult. It's very difficult. And I have friends that ask me, "How do you get the money? What do you sell?" I have a van, a 1999 Grand Caravan in the garage. Nobody wants to buy it. Nobody wants to buy the houses because people have money, and if you have a lot of money, you're not interested in a 1999 Caravan. You have a Fortuner or a Toyota 2018. There are cars like that here. People near the government have so much money you won't believe it. Airplanes, new cars. They have a house in Doral in Florida, but they also have a house in Dominican Republic, and they're going to Boa Vista to see if they can make money bringing food to Venezuela. Food, I mean sugar, pasta, rice. But everybody in the country is doing the same. Thinking about leaving Venezuela, thinking about who you're going to live in your house. I'm living at the house of a friend because renting the house is a risk. If I rent the house to somebody near the government, I might lose my house.
I mean, is it a risk losing it anyway? Or is it still going to be yours in a few years? I guess I don't have a feel for how, you're saying the government is obviously not legit in a lot of ways, but how crazy is it? They could just take it for the state, or what?
Yeah.
You don't know. You don't know. There's no way to say if they're going to do it or not.
So it's just completely random, like their whim, whatever their whim is, that's what happens.
Well, I tell you what, every time the opposition does something that the government feels hurt, they say, now we're going to give you more socialism. From this on, and they do something. And your house is your house as long as they say it's yours. Look at Cuba. I have friends in Hialeah in Miami who have the papers from the houses they left in 1959, 1960. Legally, it's their house. But would they ever go back? Nobody knows. And I think that is going to happen here unless some external pressure makes this government go. And that's a small chance. Sadly, it's like that.
I guess it's like, how bad can it get? Because it sounds like it's already pretty bad. At some point, isn't the government going to run out of food too? Aren't they going to start feeling the brunt of this, or,
I don't know. I can answer that. I'm not sure. Nobody knows what's going to happen. I think that's the reason why the Petro didn't work, because nobody believes in the government, because you never know what they're going to do. For example, by the Constitution, there are elections in December. They have the ANC, which is the National Constitution Assembly, and they decided it's going to be in May. Just like that. That's because they want to. They know that they're losing popularity, and eventually they won't win an election. So they got it closer. Nobody said anything. Oh, I'm wrong. Everybody outside Venezuela said, hey, that's illegal. But the government doesn't care. They don't care.
right? Who's going to enforce, the fact that it's illegal? And Guillermo was telling me about they have these like thugs that kind of enforce all their rules, but they're not actually part of the government. What did you call them?
Yes. They call them the colectivos. And the colectivos are legal when they want to be legal. They belong to the national police or to the National Guard. But sometimes they go out in normal clothes and they do whatever is needed. They record videos from YouTube. I can send you some with long weapons, rifles, grenades, and they have their faces covered, and they back up this government, just like this. And nobody does anything. Nobody can, actually, because they have their force.
Yeah. Well, that's. I'm glad to hear that you're getting out. We're gonna have to do a update. You know, once you make it to Santiago, so I can hear how the trip went and everything like that. There's so much material to cover. You know, when I was in Santiago talking with Guillermo, he was telling me story after story, and I want to get some of those as well at some point. But for now, I just wanted to do, you know, a little touch base before you left while you're still on the ground in Venezuela. Is there anything else that you feel like people should know that you want to get across, or anything like that?
Oh, there's so many things. Well, mainly that I still have hope that my country will change, because this is the richest country in Latin America. But sometimes you have to make up your mind and make a decision. That's what I'm doing. I had to. Luckily enough, I got help. I was able to do it because I got help. But you have to do it, because at this age, let's imagine I start having high blood pressure, no medicines. How long am I going to live without the medicine? My life is going to start to get shorter, just because. So it's hard to do it, but you have to do it. I'm sad. Half of my heart is in Chile, happy because I'm going to see my family there. But the other part is here, my house is here, my friends are here. It's very difficult. At night I wake up and I think it's like a dream. But you don't know if it's a nightmare or a good dream. You can't divide that.
Yeah.
That's all.
Guillermo, do you have anything to add? Are you, I mean, you know, getting to finally see the rest of your family after a year, you know, what's your feeling right now?
Well, I'm very glad that they're coming to Chile soon. If I could say anything to the people who's listening this video or this interview in the future, is that if they are, if they, how do I say it, like, basically help people inside Venezuela. That's it. There's a lot of people that really needs to go out and they can't.
Yep. And we're going to be talking about ways we can do that in the future too. So thank you both for joining me today. I appreciate you talking about this. And like I said, there's plenty more material and we'll touch back with you both again. But good luck on the journey to Santiago.